Hello everyone, Cendrine here. Welcome to part 2 of the After the Fires of Day Q&A series where I answer questions from people around the world about my upcoming new book, After the Fires of Day, Haiku Inspired by Kahlil, Gibran, and Alphonse de Lamartine. Today I have 3 very interesting questions about the haiku. So the first question is, what do you think is the most common misconception about the haiku? The second question is, what is the greatest challenge in this form? And the third question is, when did you write your first haiku? I've never been asked this question, so that's great. So first question, what do you think is the most common misconception about the haiku? For me, the greatest misconception is that a haiku must follow the 5-7-5 syllable pattern to qualify as a haiku. Nothing could be further from the truth. The 17 syllable pattern is actually a mistranslation of what happens in Japanese. As a matter of fact, Japanese poets count in on or onji, which can be translated as phonetic sounds or units. So if you want more information about this, you can read about that misconception in the excellent book from William J. Higginson titled The Haiku Handbook, where he explains that the 17 onji, so the 17 phonetic sounds or units of traditional haiku in Japanese, are about more or less 12 syllables in English. If you read all the books, they will tell you that the number of words, they will tell you about the number of words and recommend sticking to 8 to 12 words. So as you can see, you don't need to stick to 5-7-5 syllables. So if you feel constrained by this syllable pattern, you can actually try different combinations. As long as the second line is longer than the rest, you're good to go. So my haiku, over time with practice and, the more I wrote haiku, I realized that my haiku often have follow a pattern like 4-6-4 or 3-5-3. You have to go with the flow, whatever feels right to you. Now the second question is, what's the greatest challenge in this form? So the haiku, which is another excellent question, obviously. The best piece of advice I have ever received is actually a very simple one. If you want your writing to be impactful, effective, leave the telling at home. Stop talking. Stop being wordy. Show things to people. And I think the haiku embodies that idea perfectly. The haiku teaches you to be concise and impactful with very few words. But it also teaches you the importance of practice, obviously. It may actually take you years to write something that you consider decent enough. And I could write a book on this because I've been studying haiku for many years. A really good haiku will unleash its meaning after several readings, usually. So when that happens, the meaning must actually hit you with a bang. And as a haiku writer, you must be willing to leave a part of you in each piece you write so readers can experience emotions. And that's actually what makes the haiku such a beautiful form of poetry, because it's an intimate form of poetry. It's not just words put on paper. It's about conciseness and and using that conciseness and the unsaid uh, to hammer your message home, really. And if you're not willing to leave part of you in your piece, in your pieces, you won't succeed with a haiku. And unfortunately, many writers struggle with that idea. So let it go. Just let it go when you write haiku. Just let it go. The third question is, when did you write your first haiku? So I could tell you when I wrote my first real poem. It was in January of 2015, 2005, sorry, January 2005. So it's been quite a while. It was in the middle of the night. I remember feeling, wanting to write something, wanting to write a poem, and I wrote it in half an hour. And, I tell that story all the time. But it was quite an incredible moment. But as far as haiku are concerned, I do not have such precise recollection. Honestly, I do not remember the first time I wrote a haiku, but I would say that my first attempts date back to the mid 2000s, probably shortly after I wrote my first poem, probably 2006, 2007. So that's it. That's it for today's question. Thank you very much for being with me today. I hope you enjoyed my answers. And see you soon for part 3 of the After the Fires of Day Q&A series. Have a good evening. Bye.